Welcome back to Hear Me Out by SHK. Today we're looking at the first semi-final of the 2026 T20 World Cup between South Africa and New Zealand. So let's just jump right into it. New Zealand, I think they will bring out Ish Sodhi and play Devon Conway in his place. And a little bit further into the video, we'll look at why I'm saying that. Some of the viewers may already be familiar with the conditions at Eden Gardens, but I'd like to repeat it. Eden Gardens is a batting friendly pitch. In the IPL, we've seen the average first inning score as high as 200 to 210. But because ICC is curating this pitch, there is a little bit more for bowlers, as we saw, as we've seen so far in the World Cup. The average first inning score so far has been 183. So a winning score on this track could be as high as 190. So I've prepared a pitch map analysis based on the data in the previous game, which is India versus West Indies, which happened in the same ground. So let's first look at what are the green areas, what are the best places to bowl, where should the bowlers be looking to bowl. Here you can clearly see that the best areas to bowl for both pace bowlers and spinners is going to be off stump or middle stump. I think it's pretty obvious. Uh, the best lengths to bowl are usually always going to be good length areas, but it's better to keep the ball outside of the pads. It's better to hit that test match length of 4 to 6 meters outside the off stump, because if you look at the 34 balls that were bowled in the India West Indies game, it only went for 36 runs and 3 wickets were picked up. 38% of the 38% of the balls bowled were either edged or missed. And similarly, you can also see that on the middle stump line, 27 balls, 31 runs, just an economy of 6.88 there. On a track where you're expected to score at least 190, these are the golden areas to bowl. Now, what you'll also see is that this is not a terrible way to pick up wickets. Uh, there have been 5 wickets that were picked up just bowling these lines and lengths, especially early on when you can sort of move the ball away from the batsman. If you hit a hard length, it's possible in Eden Gardens. Now, other green areas, as you can see, are the wide Yorkers. Arshdeep Singh bowled them very well in the previous game against Jason Holder. And you can try out the odd slow bouncer, but this is not ideal for the power play. It's better that you get it on only in the death and as a relief or to confuse the batsman when they're looking for the Yorkers. I'll explain why uh, in a short while. The yellow areas are areas you can bowl to, but it should be more batsman planning specific. If you look at the fuller lengths, keeping the stumps in play is pretty important, because especially on a wicket where you're not getting a lot of movement, if you can keep the stumps in play and you get that little bit of a nick, a little bit of an inward movement or outward movement early on, you can trap the batsman. If you look at the fuller lengths, which is 4 to 2 meters, both outside the off stump and the middle stump, you see that the economy for bowlers is 8.25 and 7.33. So bowlers have done pretty well, even if they've missed their length, as long as they've kept it full. And a majority of those balls which went for fewer runs were in the power play, especially in the first couple of overs when the ball was moving around a little bit more. Now it's pretty clear. Avoid the pads at any cost on this track. Okay, so let's look at the game plans. First, for South Africa, I think they should be bowling 3 overs of Kagiso Rabada in the power play. I understand that there's been a bit of success from bowling an over of finger spin in the power play, but I think given that Keshav Maharaj is their only specialist spinner, he should be kept mainly for the middle overs and not be brought into the power play too early. Why I'm saying Kagiso Rabada should be bowling 3 overs is he can hit that 4 to 6 meter length very well. He's a very good bowler of that 4 to 6 meter test match length. He can get seam movement even if it's not there as much. and he's a genuine wicket-taking option. Uh, and given that the back of the hand slower ball in shorter lengths is not going to work well on this pitch, we saw even Bumrah getting smashed out of the park by Rovman Power, bowling a cutter or a slower ball shorter the length. You have to keep it to the Yorkers when bowling in the death. So Rabada struggled a lot bowling in the death. So I would keep him. I would keep a limited number of overs for him in the death. Now, given that Yorkers is going to be your main form of defense, Andrik Nokia and Corbin Bosch are going to be the main death bowlers for South Africa. Corbin Bosch is in really good form. Andrik Nokia is coming back to the team after a bit of a hiatus. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes in. And Andrik Nokia should not be bowling in the power play. This is pretty evident given the fact that uh, in the previous game against Zimbabwe, where they played in Delhi, the pitch was skidding on for him. Uh, what I mean by skidding on is that it wasn't stopping, and the pitch was sort of grassy in a way that it moved faster after pitching. What we saw in the India game is that this Calcutta pitch is slowing down a little bit. So if somebody's coming in bowling the high 140s, especially to the New Zealand batsmen who are already used to playing it, they can easily take Andrik Nokia out of the picture and sort of mess with his momentum a little bit. They can get a 14, 15 run over of him, possibly. He should be their primary death option. Now, I think Lungi Ngidi, you can give him 2 overs in the power play. It may be a risky move given that he's primarily been used as a death bowler, but we have seen that the change of pace, um, slower balls as a attacking option instead of a defensive option has worked well. We saw Bumrah get two settled batsmen out in the middle overs by using the slower ball as an attacking option. Then, as for Keshav Maharaj, I think this pitch might play a little bit to his strengths. So far, we've seen him bowl a slightly quicker pace of above 190, which is not uncommon for for a finger spinner, but it is pretty quick. Given that the pitch is slowing down a little bit, there's not a lot of turn. We saw that, which is not a problem for Keshav Maharaj at all. As long as he can bowl in that 4 to 6 meter, keeping the stumps in play a little bit, maybe off stump, middle and off, should be the right area to bowl. And he should be looking to defend runs. And this is why. So if you can see, this is the bowling data from this year's T20 World Cup. So why I was saying Keshav Maharaj is the defensive option in this situation is because of this stat. 55 overs bowled by finger spinners on this track, 20 wickets taken at an economy of 8.61. Yes, fast bowlers have had a higher economy and have had a lower economy, and medium pace bowlers have had a similar economy. But if you look at the average of finger spinners, it's been 23.7 at a strike rate of 16.5. So, because they're not getting a lot of help out of the pitch, their main source of wickets has been batsmen trying to free themselves and get wickets. They're not bowling aggressive lines. And you compare that to the average of a medium pace bowler with a lot of variation or a fast bowler with a bit of variation, you can see there's a clear difference in average here. So using fast bowlers as a wicket taking option is much better than using your only finger spinner in Keshav Maharaj as a wicket taking option. Now we've come back to why I said for New Zealand Ish Sodhi is likely to be dropped, and in place of him, Devon Conway is to be picked. So, what you'll see here is that red spinners have bowled 30 overs and just picked up 9 wickets at an average of 31.44, and they've had by far the highest economy of the lot. And this is despite Varun Chakravarti bowling on this pitch, which means they're not getting a lot of support out of it. Ish Sodhi is not that slow through the air because of his height, so it's better that New Zealand strengthen their batting, especially given the fact that in the first 6 overs, it's better to consolidate the innings. And then after about 8 to 10 overs, you can go ballistic, especially in the second innings once the due factor is set on. Coming back to the ground dimensions, you can see here that 76 to 78 meters straight boundaries, 66 to 68 meters square boundaries. It's always best to keep the straight boundaries in play, especially because there's such a great difference. and just a mistimed shot can mean you can get wickets.
This also brings us back to the red and green areas that we talked about before. Why I was saying avoid the bouncers, especially the slower bouncers, even the quicker ones, is because when you have a shorter square boundary, what the batsman can do is they can easily pull you or cut you to the shorter lengths, which is the square boundaries above point or above deep square leg, and that's going to be a significant advantage. And bowling somewhere in the middle means that the batsman, they have to hit the mid wicket where you have a little bit more length of support. And also, this is why you avoid the pads. Because square leg is the shorter side boundary, the minute you bowl on the pads, the entirety of that square boundary is accessible to you. And batsmen, it's easier to hit when the ball is bowled on your legs. And when that's the shorter boundary, that's a huge advantage, and you want to avoid that. Now, one thing I've missed out on talking about is New Zealand. So, what Kagiso Rabada does for South Africa, I think Matt Henry will have to do that for New Zealand in some capacity. What I mean by that is he's not the same kind of bowler. He's not going to come in and hit hard lengths. He can get seam movement off the pitch even when the pitch is not doing a lot. It will do a little bit because it's a coastal area. But even when it's not doing a lot, Matt Henry is a skilled bowler. And if he can pick up a couple of wickets in the power play, that's really going to do South Africa a lot of damage the farther into the innings they go. In terms of spinners, they have a wide set of spinners. If assuming they drop Ish Sodhi, they still have Mitchell Santner. Rachin Ravindra has picked up 7 wickets in the last 2 games, or some stat like that. And Glenn Phillips has been a handy part timer for them. Cole McConkey is also a talented spinner. Um, I viewed Cole McConkey more as a batting all rounder from his Canterbury days, but he has been handy with the ball. He can bowl tight lines, which is exactly what you want out of your finger spinners on this track. And this is the main advantage that New Zealand have over South Africa. South Africa have only one clear, well-defined spinner in Keshav Maharaj. New Zealand have Mitchell Santner and three very handy part-time options, which sort of gives them that advantage there. And all of them have done their job incredibly well. In terms of batting, how the New Zealand batting lineup will change is something that has to be taken into consideration if Devon Conway comes in. New Zealand tend to open with Tim Seifert and Finn Allen. Now, if Devon Conway comes in, what I would like to see happen is Devon Conway opens with Finn Allen. What that gives you is a left-right combination off the bat, and Finn Allen, he can give you that fiery start, and Devon Conway plays as a sheet anchor. He sort of, you probably want to see him bat from the power play until the 10th over. Uh, Scoring about a 30 run 40 is the ideal situation for New Zealand here. If not him, then maybe even Tim Seifert, who can play on both gears, can do that job. Now, why New Zealand will want this out of him is because usually in the Eden Gardens, the first 10 overs tend to be a consolidation phase. There is a little bit more help for the bowlers when the ball is new. The seam is much better, so the spinners are getting a little bit of grip, so you don't want to lose too many wickets, and especially because on a flat batting track like this, if you've gotten the time on the crease, you can tear the bowlers apart. The last 10 overs, you should easily be looking at 100 runs if you have 8 wickets in hand. For South Africa's batting, if you look at it, all about form when we look at South Africa. It's all about form and power. Aiden Markram, form is of his life. I think he's been the best batsman so far this tournament. Quinton de Kock, Ryan Rickelton, Tristan Stubbs, Devold Brevis, David Miller, Marco Janssen's handy with the bat. They might play Corbin Bosch. That is 8 strong batters. Now, as much as I don't want to stop Aiden Markram from playing his game, he should do what Devon Conway does. Now, if you look at that as a like-to-like matchup, there is an advantage to South Africa purely because Aiden Markram is playing incredibly well. He's playing incredibly well. And in terms of hitters, if you look at who's going to power you through that 10 to 20 phase, that 100 runs in 8 overs, if there's any team that's going to be if there's a set of players who are going to be able to do that at South Africa. Deval Brevis is incredibly explosive on his day. We've seen him do it countless times. In the SA20, he was incredible for Pretoria Capitals. Tristan Stubbs is coming back to form. He's had very good innings recently, especially the one against India. David Miller is a match winner. Corbin Bosch can hit the ball a long way, and Marco Jansen can too, which means South Africa have some very good hitting in there. And I think any total up until I think 220, South Africa are always in the game because of this. Similar to South Africa, New Zealand also bat deep. After this sort of setting phase, if you can have Devon Conway and Tim Seifert get you past 10 overs, you're going to have Rachin Ravindra, Glenn Phillips, David Miller, Mark Chapman, Cole McConkey, and Mitch Santner. Yes, it's not as exciting on paper as South Africa, but they've proven that they can do it. They've proven that they're no less. And I think both teams are pretty evenly matched when you look at it in terms of these hitters, this 10 to 20. So I think what it'll come down to is which team has set themselves up better in the first 10 overs to go ballistic in the last 10, which means if we consider that it is, say, 7 runs for 1 wicket, if the team can be 90 for 2 at the end of 10 overs, then 90 for 2 at the end of 10 overs, that is the best ground you can have, the best ground flow you can have to get a score like 195 to 200, considering 190 is a winning score on this pitch. But even if a team does get 190, given how strong both these batting lineups are, that doesn't immediately discount the other side, is what I'm trying to say here. So, my prediction for the video, somewhat hesitantly, I will say South Africa will come ahead. Uh, for a few reasons. Yes, New Zealand do have an advantage with the spinners and the containing spinners. The three of them are part timers, they can be taken down. And if South Africa find a way to negate Mitch Santner, they are in the driver's seat. Another reason, another weakness for New Zealand is they don't have great death bowling. Lockie Ferguson will play for sure. He's going to be their main death bowler. He's going to come in and nail Yorkers at 140 plus. Mark my words, this will happen. But their second death bowler, who is that going to be? They played the entirety of their Super 8s in Sri Lanka. Now coming back, who are they going to bring into the side who can function as a death bowler? Matt Henry's not done that great of a job in my opinion. In the match against England, we saw Glenn Phillips bowling the 18th over. So probably the guy who's going to come in is Kyle Jamieson or Will O'Rourke, and both of them we've seen them get dismantled against India in the bilateral series. And when you consider who's batting on the other side, like a David Miller or a Tristan Stubbs, it looks pretty dire. And even if New Zealand get an above par score and the spinners do the job, if South Africa require 50 of the last four, I'm still backing South Africa to get over the line. And that's why I think I'll give South Africa an edge of 56-44. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I've come back after a long time, so I'm a little bit rusty. And stay tuned for our video tomorrow on the India versus England semi final preview.